Introducing the remarkable archetype, the dangerous gentleman. With a demeanor that commands respect and a hint of potency, he embodies strength tempered by virtue. Though his capabilities could veer towards danger, he channels his power for noble causes, serving others and safeguarding those in need. Rooted in a profound love for both God and humanity, he navigates life with discipline and purpose. In his presence, one witnesses the harmonious blend of power and benevolence, a testament to the true essence of masculinity. Step into the world of the dangerous gentleman, where strength is wielded for righteousness, and discover a captivating embodiment of honor and valor. Greetings and welcome to the Dangerous Gentleman podcast. Yes, I am the Dangerous Gentleman. No, I did not give myself that nickname, but I certainly did earn it. And that's kind of the topic of what I want to talk about today is what we deserve, what we don't deserve, what we earn and what we don't earn. Okay. And this whole topic, this whole concept starts when we're little, and we get this competing idea when we're children. Our moms work overtime to try to show us that life is fair, that life is kind to you, and that life will give you what you deserve. And she's always trying to cut the cake in just the right exact shape, the right size pieces so that everyone gets the right size piece and that no one has more. And that if a mom could have everyone go first, they would try that. That's what they would do. They want to show us that regardless of who we are and where we are, or what life is, that life is fair. And then we contrast that with our dads who are always trying to show us that life is sometimes about the hard knocks and that you can try really, really hard and still not get what it is that you're looking for, not get what you want. And that sometimes you're going to get kicked in the teeth, right? And it doesn't matter what you do. Sometimes that just happens. And so we get these competing ideas that life is fair, but also that life isn't fair. And so what I'm going to try to do today is try to explain to you, try to explain a little bit of how I've come to an understanding of the difference between those two things. So life is fair in the end, in the results. Life isn't always fair in the effort. Take, for example, right now, we have the Olympics that are going on. And everyone at the Olympics has in some way earned their right to be there. They are the best in their country at a particular skill. They are the best in their age group or in their weight class. They are the best person or the best team, and they have qualified in order to be there. Now, are there a bunch of other people who have tried just as hard, if not harder, to be there? Of course there are. There are people who have worked way, way harder. But in the end, they didn't get the results. They didn't earn that place for whatever reason. Maybe they're not fast enough. And if you're 5'2" and you don't have a whole lot of athletic ability, you can work as hard as Michael Jordan or LeBron James. You could work harder. You could be twice as disciplined as any of those guys, and you're not going to make it to the NBA. You're not going to be making millions of dollars. You're not going to make it on the Olympic team. Me, I'm never going to be a world-class sprinter. Even if I had started when I was 6 years old and trained my entire life, I would have never been a world-class sprinter. I wouldn't have played in the NFL. I could have tried as hard as I wanted. I could have given it everything that I had, and the chances are I wasn't going to make it. Right? And so the world is full of people who have tried really, really hard. And effort is rewarded. Okay? Effort is rewarded more in you sometimes. Like, you've become a better person. You're disciplined. You've put in the effort, and that is a win. And that is a big deal. And that is a skill that will suit you very well as you go through life. Because if you've proven that in that one area, you can prove it in other areas as well, right? You just might not be a world-class athlete. You might not be a brain surgeon. I could study for hours and hours and hours and hours and put in all the time and all the effort, right? And I might never become a successful brain surgeon. It just might not be in me. So the world, the universe, well, God, the way that God designed the universe, this isn't something that we came up with. This is just the way that life works. Is that if you are good enough at something, if you have done something worth recognition, right? If you have earned a place, like that will play itself out. Are there people out there who reward people because they're their nephew or because they're a certain race or whatever? Yeah, there's a few people out there like that. But the way the world works, the way an ideal world works, is that you are judged and that you are rewarded and you move through life based on your accomplishments. Did you get the job done or can you get the job done? It should not be based on your skin color. It should not be based on your gender, your race, or your economic status, right? There's too much of that. I know it's a hot topic right now. People are talking about DEI and affirmative action and all of these different things, right? And that people are getting these positions because of some kind of identity, right? How they were born, something like that. And that, my friends, when people do that, that is not the way the world is supposed to work. That is not fair. If someone gets a position simply because they check off a couple of identity boxes, right? And not because they earned it, that isn't fair. If someone gets into college simply because of their race, or they get into medical school, or they get a certain job or a position because of their identity and not because of their accomplishments, that is the height of unfairness. I know for me personally, if I got a job simply because of who I was related to or some way that I was born, I would always, for the rest of my life, question my value. I would always be thinking, well, I only got this job because of this and not because I earned it. But if I busted my butt and I got the best grades that I could and I was the best person for that position and I got it, I'm going to walk around with my head held high knowing that I earned it. Kind of like I earned my nickname. I did not give myself that, right? I've told the story of how I got that nickname. It's because I busted ass in life. I changed a lot of things about myself. And if someone had just like walked up to me one day and said, "Hey, you're the dangerous gentleman," I would have been like, "What? What does that even mean?" Like, I would not wear that moniker with pride. I would not call myself that, right? I would just be like, that's kind of weird. But because I've done the things that I've done and I've worked the way that I've worked, I know that I earned that nickname. And when someone called me that, it resonated with me because I put in the work. There's a whole lot of people out there who are in positions because of who they were born, of how they were born. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And yes, sometimes life isn't fair. And yes, sometimes people are rewarded because of their skin tone or not their skin tone or their economic status, right? And that's not fair. But people are working so hard to try to level the playing field to make sure that everyone starts in the same position or ends in the same position, which means that certain people are given hindrances and certain people are given enhancements. And then at the beginning, that's what they are. They're given enhancements or hindrances at the beginning. And then throughout the course of their life, they are given more enhancements or more hindrances in order to try to keep everyone at the same level. That discourages achievement, that discourages people from trying really hard, that discourages people from putting in the work. The people who want to achieve are discouraged from that. And the people who are not go-getters, the people who are not trying to get somewhere in life, they are falsely put into positions where they get things that they don't deserve. So they didn't earn the promotion. They didn't earn the money. They didn't earn whatever it is that they're getting. But now all of a sudden, they're at the same level of this other person who maybe was 3 steps ahead. And now the system has knocked them down one place, but they've lifted up the person who was 3 steps behind, and they've lifted that person up 2 steps. So now these people are in the same playing field. They have the same status in life, but you have two very drastically different people. One who wants to get more and is being held back, and one who doesn't necessarily want to get more and is being falsely thrust forward. And it's not fair for either person. It's not just, to put a better term on it, right? Justice is equal weights and balances on both sides, right? Justice is blind. It doesn't look at the person. It doesn't look at anything other than, like, you stack one person's qualifications and accomplishments and personality and all their traits on one side, and then you do the same thing for another person on the other side, and justice balances it out, right? And so if those scales of balance are tipped more in one person's favor, the system right now wants to try to take stuff off of one side of that balance. And sometimes they don't just take it off. Sometimes they take it off of one side and then they stack it on the other side until it's even, right? When neither person deserved that to happen. The person who had stuff removed didn't deserve to have anything taken away from them. And the person who had stuff added to them didn't deserve to have anything added to them. And yeah, I understand. Sometimes there's a little bit of that happens, right? And that's a certain amount of lifting people up in order to get them out of poverty or to get them to a higher station in life. Like, everyone needs a boost every once in a while. God knows I've had a few boosts in my life, both from like individuals and from external parties. But in the end, like, that didn't feel as good to me. It didn't fill me up on the inside. It didn't inspire me to do better. It got me through a very difficult season in my life because I needed it, right? Those benefits got me somewhere. I'm not against any of that. But when I truly figured it out that it was up to me, that I had to earn things, that's when I actually started to feel a sense of worth. I knew when I graduated from chiropractic school, I knew that I had put the work in order to get there. When I walked across that stage and they handed me a diploma and they called me doctor, they can't take that away from me because I earned that. And if they had just given it to me, that wouldn't have meant anything. When I deadlifted 400 pounds for the first time, I knew I earned that. No one had given that to me. No one took plates from someone else and put them on mine, or took stuff off of mine and gave it to someone else. I earned that in the gym. And that's one of the things I like about the gym, is that the gym is a meritocracy. And what a meritocracy is, if you don't understand that concept, something that is based on meritocracy is that, like, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in, it's the results. If you're not getting the results, if you're not passing the tests, if you're not lifting the weight, I don't get credit for a 400-pound deadlift when I only lifted 375 pounds. I don't get that. That is an objective measurement. And if you ask me, and a lot of people, the world needs to be based on some more objective standards. They need to find ways to look at life rather than based on a whole bunch of feelings. We need to find some objective standards. And that's something that I've talked about before, is this return to orthodoxy. People have pushed this boundary. People have pushed the edges of this and stepped off the edge, right? And now so many people are returning to these orthodox standards, these absolutes, right? Like meritocracy and leveling the playing field on a healthy level, right? Not lifting up a bunch of people that don't deserve it and tearing down a bunch of people that do, because that is against the natural order of life. That's the way the world was designed. That's the way the world was built. It wasn't built to knock everybody down and start everybody at the same place, right? Yeah. We all start out with opportunities, right? There's plenty of opportunities, and systemically there have been some things that haven't been fair, but for the most part, especially in today's culture and in today's society, it's a pretty even playing field. And if you put in the work, it's not that if you put in the work, but if you get the results. If you get the results, you should get the reward. You should get the job. You should get the scholarship. You should get the gold medal. If you are the best in the world at what you do and you go to the Olympics and you win, you get the gold medal, right? They don't give you a gold medal for trying. There's trying should be its own reward for you personally. Let's just use another example. If you go to flight school and you want to become a pilot and you try really hard and you study and you just can't get it, you just can't seem to figure out how to fly an airplane, but you have tried really, really hard, are they going to give you a pilot's license? Well, these days they might, but should they give you a pilot's license? Absolutely not. If you can fly a plane for God's sakes. If you can't fly a plane, if you can't cut the mustard, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you started in life. If you can't fly my airplane that I am in and land it and get me from point A to point B safely, I don't want you behind the wheel or the cockpit. I don't want you there. And that is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with me saying that. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way that life is. When I was a teenager, I made $5 an hour. That was in the mid 90s, early to mid 90s. I made $5 an hour. And if I made $8 an hour, I felt like I was getting somewhere. And if I made 10, I remember the first time I made $10 an hour and I was pouring concrete and a guy he paid all the guys working that day. He paid him $10 an hour and it was cash and it was under the table. So it was a true legitimate $10 an hour. And we busted our butts that day. We poured a lot of concrete and I think we worked 10 or 12 or 15 hours that day and we earned every penny of that $10 an hour. Now, entry level jobs in California and a few states across the country, entry level jobs, they start people at $20 an hour. Working fast food, right? Fast food is supposed to be an entry level position. Fast food is not supposed to pay your living wage. It's meant to be for teenagers who need a few bucks to take their girlfriend out, who want a few bucks to put gas in their car, or someone who's trying to kind of rebuild their life after falling apart, right? It's not meant to be a long term career where it pays all your bills and you build a retirement plan based on working fast food. That's not what it's for. So, how does it feel to the person who has been an electrician or worked at a construction job for 10 years and they're now making 22, 23, $25 an hour, right? And they've been working a job for 10 years and they work really, really hard and they're really, really good at what they do. And they're making $5 an hour more than the guy who just started at Mickey D's. In my opinion, that is not just. That is not fair and that is not the way that it's supposed to be. Now, that person who's been working that construction job should be making 30, 35, $40 an hour because they are objectively working harder, more skilled, getting more done than the entry level person at McDonald's. So, the whole idea of what it was that I'm trying to get across today is that we need to be looking at merit. We need to find objective standards to look at things, and people should be rewarded with pay, with positions, with power, with authority, whatever it is, rewards based on results, not the color of their skin, not their level of effort. I mean, effort is great, but effort should be its own reward. But if someone is better at something, if someone is better suited for a certain particular position, it shouldn't matter any of that other stuff. If they are the best person for their position, they should be hired blindly. When you apply for a job, it should be a simple, basic, like name, age, qualifications, resume. Resume doesn't include all this extraneous bullshit. Can you do the job? Are you the best person for it? If you are, you get the job. You get the position. You get the money. You get the raise. You get the bonus. Whatever it is, you get the gold medal. You get into law school, medical school. You get the pilot's license. Whatever it is, if you earned it, you should get it. None of this other stuff should matter. Every once in a while, a boost is okay. But we shouldn't be trying to make everyone level. We shouldn't try to make everything even by tearing people down and lifting other people up. Did you earn it? Can you get the job done? That is the question. So if you like this content, please give it a rating, a review, and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me and what I'm all about and what I can maybe do for you, check out my website at thedangerousgentleman.org. That's thedangerousgentleman.org. Thank you for listening.